Good morning, sorry, no, afternoon, everyone. I can't even tell the time now. Jesus Christ, is that mad? But then that's what happens when I end up taking the day off of work because this old genius here forgot that the Lecky man was coming along to test everything here. So that's the reason why I'm sitting here at home right now in my XCOM t-shirt and what have you. But that's, of course, not why you called. So I want to make this perfectly clear as far as farage is concerned, because I know there are going to be people out there who think that Nigel's part of the establishment. He may well be, for all I know. But here's the thing. We need to focus on the real threat first. Like, for all I know, Nigel Farage may well be part of the establishment. Or Nigel may well be not a person of his convictions later down the line. However, we cannot worry about Farage right now. What we need to worry about is taking out the trash in the houses of treachery. I mean Parliament. Or maybe I was right first time. You know, getting rid of the shills like Keir the Tool Starmer, Rishi the Slippery Sunak, those kinds of people. We need to worry about them. Keep them out of power. Make sure they lose their seats. Make sure that we're putting a fire under their asses, basically, and telling them we will not stand for your treachery and deceit anymore. Because at the end of the day, it is down to us to make sure we have the right people representing us. And while I will say this much, as far as Nigel Farage is concerned, I think there probably are a few problems with him. Other than the fact that I forgot my milk and I've got my cup of tea sitting through the office. 1 second. I mean, say what you will about Britain, but us Brits know how to make a good cup of tea. Anyway, the point is, Nigel Farage may well be a threat later down the line, but he's not a threat right now. Oh, that is lovely. Even if it is my own damn brew, so it should be, I've got no excuse. But they have to understand, these people who are doubters of Nigel Farage. You might be right. He may well be a piece of shit for all I know. I mean, as I said before, I've already made clear that he's made disparaging remarks about Tommy Robinson and people who follow his movement. He called people like me and Indigenous people on that 1st of June movement knuckle-dragging thugs. Which, obviously, I'm not too appreciative of. That being said, I want to see him in power. I want to at least give him a chance, if nothing else. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people will come out and say everyone deserves a chance. We gave Rishi the Slippery Sunak a chance. He's proved to be a fucking idiot. Now we're going to take out the trash. Keir the Tool Starmer has been given a chance to showcase his manifesto, what he believes to be a woman, and he can't even do that. And he's also proven to be the biggest tool in the shed. And it's not just because of his father being a tool maker. So, as such, it stands to reason Nigel Farage has not been given a good chance to run this country. And I think it's about time we had a different party. You can't expect things to change if you keep voting the same two cheeks of the same saggy ass. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. They would rather, hither or whether, be in power still, rather than we mix things up a bit and we say, you know what? Let's have someone else in for a change. Because insanity, as I've described many times, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. which is probably what I'm going to be practicing when I'm drinking this tea. Anyway, it is insanity to think that we are going to achieve any kind of change while we're under Labour, Liberal Democrats, or the con in Conservatives. Absolute madness. It's never going to fucking happen. But at least if you give reform a chance, maybe they will turn out to be the proper brew this country needs. That's the way I look at it. I think we need to give Nigel a chance. And as said before, I think there are going to be aspects of Farage that are going to need to be scrutinised, that are going to need to be exposed. And it's not the racism elements about it, like the shills and the NPCs in Channel 4 and the British Broadcasting Corporation, or maybe I was right first time again, or even the second time. But we need people to scrutinise Nigel Farage and find genuinely problematic things about him when he gets into power, because nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. Is that the door? No, it's just downstairs being Muppets. But I digress. The point of all this is, we need to be there, put a fire under the arses of Labour and Tory. We've done that. They failed over the last 40 fucking years. And obviously, we can't include the 4 years of the Liberal Democrats because they're an entirely different cut of shit all the same. But I can safely say that the other prime ministers that we've had have been total bollocks, bluntly speaking. What we need is someone that is not driven by an auto cue, that is not driven by this motion of say what people want to hear and then do fuck all later, but people who actually stand by their beliefs. We need that. And I think, as I said, we need to give that chance to reform. And if it turns out they turn to be a dud, if it turns out that reform will not reclaim our country, then we need to think again. But we must make sure the mainstream traitor parties are kept out of power. And another thing as well, the postal vote. Do not do the postal vote. Focus on pen on paper. Not pencil, pen. Because that's how a lot of votes are going to get lost. Because how easy do you think it is for a postie just to, I'll just put this in here, just throw it away, no more votes for reform? How easy do you think that'll be? And likewise, vice versa, they could easily pull out a whole fucking stack of votes, pass them on to Labour. Do you think they're going to play this fairly? I don't think so. I think they're going to do everything they can to stitch Farage up. And as much as some people will say, I'm putting too much trust in him, or he's not the absolute solution to all this, you're absolutely right. He is not the absolute solution. But what he is a solution for the here and now. Would you rather place your trust in a man who has gotten us Brexit and may not have served as a prime minister, but at least that meant he hasn't monumentally fucked the country up? Or would you rather trust the two lame parties of Labour and Conservative, who have had 40 years plus to help put this country on the straight and narrow, and the only straight and narrow they've put us on is they've hogtied us onto the fucking railway tracks? That's the way I look at it. We need change. And the only way we're going to get change is if we vote a different party. So, I will still implore people in 2 days' time to put their vote in for reform. Because, as I said, they may not be the permanent solution, but they are the current solution we have right now. And I think if we end up having Labour in power for an extended period of time, God help us all. Like, even the idea of Kiss the Tulstama being in power is scary. But I made a video a little while back as well. There's the prospect of Sadiq Khan being Prime Minister. And I don't know about you, but I feel goosebumps right now just thinking about that. I've got fucking goosebumps thinking of the idea that a failed Muslim mayor of London who has connections to the families of the 7/7 bombings and wanted to help families of the 7/7 bombers as a lawyer, it scares me that he could potentially be in power. It should scare you too. Make no mistake about it. There's a reason Sadiq Khan wanted it dismissed as Islamophobia, in air quotes, because we all know the word doesn't exist, because it would imply an irrational fear of Islam. How do you think it's irrational when we're worried about terrorism? Please tell me, Sadiq Khan. But this is something, again, that the mainstream media don't want to talk to us about. His past connections. And it's not libel and slander, because I know it's 100% fucking true, and I've already put out links in previous videos in the descriptions of them. It is fact that he was in connection with some of these people of the 7/7 bombings. I don't know about you, but I don't want a terrorist sympathiser as a Prime Minister. But he could totally be it. Think about it. Think about it. I mean, really, really think about it. And I know for me that's dangerous, but what else am I supposed to do? Anyway, think about it. The fact that Liz Truss quit after 40 or so days, or was it 80 days? I can't remember off the top of my head. Shortest serving Prime Minister the country's ever had. Then it paved the way for Rishi Slippery Sunak, to get into 10 Downing Street. And as I've said before about that joke, what do you call a politician sprinting into 10 Downing Street? A running joke. And that was exactly what we got with Rishi Sunak. Rishi called this snap election because he was scared. He didn't want reform coming back and having, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, or longer to prepare. He wanted to do it now, while he knew damn well that Nigel wouldn't be able to muster up the campaign to get into 10 Downing Street. That's what it boils down to. This man, Rishi Sunak, is the same person who walked out on the D-Day service. The D-Day commemoration. He walked out. Do you know what I call a person that does that? Unequivocally, unreservedly, unashamedly. A traitor. And I know Rishi's not going to like that, but fuck him. I don't care. If you walk out on our war vets who fought in 2 world wars and died for this country, you are a traitor. Simple as that. Because it shows your beliefs are not in the British people and the British Army. Nigel Farage understands that. Nigel Farage understands what needs to be done. A freeze on immigration. Make work pay. And making sure that we have common sense solutions. Where will you find common sense in the other 2 parties that are running? Because let's face it, the Liberal Democrats don't stand a chance. The Conservatives haven't got a ghost of a chance of keeping many of their seats because they're going to get blown out the water by Labour. They screwed themselves over the last 12 years. Do you really think they're going to get into power? Of course not. This is probably going to be a Labour win. It's just a matter of by how much. It's that, or Nigel Farage is going to pull off a fucking miracle. Which I'm hoping for, but I'm not going to hold my breath for. But he is needed. And as much as people are going to say that he's part of the controlled establishment, we still have to hold the faith. Because we're not going to get change with any other party. And at least Nigel Farage has got the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to stand for election and put a fire under their asses, which he needs to. Because how else are they going to start realising that the British people have had enough of their treachery and deceit?